There was a particular time when I looked around and I saw that there are people that probably don't know as much as I do or have the experience I've had, and they are out there doing all the speaking engagements and being the face in places, right? And I thought, what is holding me back? Like there shouldn't be any reason why I can't be out there.
Rufus is a thought leader and co-founder of Disha.
I studied computer science and engineering in the university and graduated 2013. For over 10 years now, I've been working professionally in tech.
He joined Flutterwave as a senior software engineer after Disha's acquisition to ensure the platform's success.
Disha is a software as a service platform. In 2021, we sold and exited to Flutterwave.
When I first heard about the whole idea of Disha, I was like, this is actually brilliant. How come no one has really thought about it? Well, for this part of the world, did you think of it as it's going to become something that, it's going to become massive, it's going to get acquired, and everything that sort of happened along the journey?
No. No. Getting acquired was something that just happened, and it's not something that we planned from day one, that, we're going to get acquired by Flutterwave and this was going to be the plan. No, that wasn't the plan. The plan was just to serve a need, and that is what led to that. The most important thing when building or doing anything at all is being flexible enough for change. I feel like our own job is just to wake up every day and do our best. But the way things are going to pan out, we don't know. A lot as humans, we worry so much about how everything is going to pan out. Like, this is how the next 2 years must be like, which I don't think anyone can really predict. The places I'm in, I don't think it's as a result of intentional planning. I don't consider myself careless. I just happen to be where I am just by taking a day at a time and just doing the best with what I can do in that moment.
By the way, no pressure with this episode.
I feel like pressured already, but it's okay.
I feel like it's one thing, it's one of the things I've sort of want to look into when it comes to making genuine original content.
Okay.
Like oftentimes, I did podcasting for a while and I noticed something that happens almost every time, people will just start, and people have this YouTube or interview voice.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't have one. I don't think I have one.
Okay. And, I just wanted a space where it's very natural, it's very, there are cameras in your face, but it doesn't feel like that. So we've been gisting since I got here, and I feel like it's just an extension of that.
Let's continue.
But I think to start off, what's been the most fun you've had in the last month?
The most fun I had in the last month? I'm thinking about that for a second. The most fun, I would say, is the week I spent in Amsterdam. Okay. I traveled about 2 weeks ago, spent a week in Amsterdam, and it was good, like seeing other people connect. People I've been wanting to see for a while, visiting them and seeing them. Yeah, that was actually fun.
Oh, okay.
Then spent the weekend so I went to Amsterdam, then in between went to Brussels as well, came back to Amsterdam, flew back to the UK. So yeah. I think that was fun. Exhausting, but was fun.
Did you go alone?
Yeah, I traveled alone. I think that was what made it more fun, It's my first time traveling alone since I got married. And that's, it was fun. The fact that I'm able to explore the way I want to. Traveling with my wife is different. It's just something else. But regardless, I miss her. I missed her on the trip, but all the same, it was fun.
I hear you on that because my wife was away for, I think, a week. And it was just me and Ire.
Yeah.
And everywhere just felt very calm. There was no pressure to try and get into the things I know would require two people.
Yeah.
And I started to learn a lot of things by just being there with him. Not like I like the distance between my wife or anything, no. But it just helped to see that, occasionally I can have alone time without me having to think for another person after I goes to bed, which is really cool. By the way, I think for a really long time, I've wanted to sort of have an extended conversation with you because when I originally started, everything digital online, I used to I used to sort of look at the things your former company, Cregital, was doing. And then there was this way content was happening. They would share I feel like Cregital was one of those companies that made company branding and storytelling interesting.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah, and I really liked that. I was even part of ARC in 2018.
Yes, but we didn't get the chance to meet though.
Yeah.
This is the first time we are meeting in person.
To be
Which is
honest,
weird.
And I feel like we know each other to some extent.
Yeah.
So
that particular hack, we just got married and we were away on honeymoon, and so we couldn't make that one. But yeah, maybe we would have met during that one, but it's all good.
I think it's making this more spicy.
yes.
So because after ARC, that was when I really went all out with content. So 2019, that was when like content really started for me. I think the experience from ARC just made me realize that I actually know a lot of people that I would love to see what I was doing. Before I was sharing architecture stuff.
Yeah.
And then it quickly became me sharing more into my journey, my experiences as a creative. I was focusing on just designers at the time, but then over time it just evolved. Yeah. And I've noticed the same thing, not the same thing for you, but creatives, I would say professional creatives, not the content creator types. Professional creatives, we're talking about, let's say, a developer, someone who is into products and design.
Yeah.
It can be quite hard to want to tell stories.
True.
In a way.
True. Yeah.
And I've seen you transition. So what was the point that made you feel like, I think I need to transition? I think I need to make a move to start working on this.
The point, I don't know, but I think probably what I've noticed is that there was a particular time when I looked around and I saw that a lot of people, there are people that probably don't know as much as I do or have the experience I've had, and they are out there. They are out there doing all the speaking engagements and being the face in places, right? And I thought, the common thing is if you're a software engineer, you're behind the scene, just doing the work, ensuring things work. You're not meant to be in front. But then I thought there's no rule to this thing. I can literally choose to be in front of the camera if I want to, And, coupled with the fact that the other people have seen that they don't know so much, but they are sharing regardless. So what is holding me that I feel like I know so much? Or, the little I know so far. What is holding me back? Like there shouldn't be any reason why I can't be out there, more out there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I was starting out, like starting out creating more content, I was thinking, who are the developer that is kind of doing what I want to do?
Yeah.
But I can't really see much. There are people on YouTube that I've seen, but say in Nigeria, for example.
Not in the storytelling
angle.
Not
Not in that side. People don't, we have that, it's like there's that software engineer persona that you have to fall into.
It's like tech bro, all the typical
you have to be
persona.
And I just thought I enjoy doing this thing and I can do it, So I started, it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't comfortable at the beginning. But I thought I can actually do it, and I started doing it. And it's been good so far. And just to add, the Cregital part that you also mentioned probably kind of helped in a little way, because at the time, I would say we were doing well in terms of the branding and the storytelling side of things.
It was really good.
Not just showing the work we are doing, showing the people that are doing the work and how we come up with the things we're doing.
Yeah.
I remember I was showing us going to client offices and, how we jump Okada in Lagos and those kind of things. And then I saw that a lot of people actually found that very relatable, that these are young people doing all this amazing stuff and they are still down to it. They are doing all of these things. And, I'm just thinking, probably I can do that for my personal self. Instead of just being that guy that is behind the scene doing stuff, I can also take people into my personal life a little bit, the ones I'm comfortable to share. And that's what I've just been trying to do.
Did you find it weird that you're having to sit in front? Because I'm asking the question because I started like actively 2019, and for like the first 2 years, it still felt like, what am I'm doing rubbish. Like I would be very insecure after I probably push out that content, and I'm secretly waiting for someone to say something bad. So I became very conscious of, okay, how should I talk? How should I speak? What kind of persona should I put out?
Oh, okay.
And it sort of gave room to something that I never expected, that we sort of touched on while we were setting up. And that was the dance bit of when I started making all this kind of
You
funny
did
skits.
I think that was 2020. I saw a lot of that on Instagram. Everywhere I look, I just see Dimeji dancing, and I love it because it has like a funny side to it.
Yeah.
You did it really well. I know how I remember one particular how you used to say, "This is my plan for the weekend to just rest," and there will just be you peeping from the door, and saying, "This is laundry, this is this waiting for you." So
It's like you have multiple characters.
Yep.
And then there are different sides to a person, right? And for you, when you just start to sort of peel off the layers of, okay, this is Rufus, the software developer, this is Rufus, the creator, this is Rufus who loves to explore and travel. Because I feel like most of us don't find a way to put everything together. And I'll share what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when I first moved to the UK, after the old dancing thing, and I've sort of gotten not comfortable, I've gotten to a place where I feel like, okay, I have my audience.
Oh, okay.
But I was very quick to remind myself that my audience wasn't really built specifically for the entirety of my personality. It was just like...
For a niche.
Yeah. So I was like, I think I messed up here. But I need to find a way to revive this old thing.
Yeah.
So are you almost in the same place? Because there was a video you made that went viral, and that was the one where you wrote a lot of things on the screen. This is who I am, and all of that.
Yeah. Well, that viral video added a little bit of pressure because it went viral in the US, in India, everywhere. Like, people that are following me are people that probably can't relate to my Nigerian context. Yeah. And I was not being careful of what to post. In terms of...
How can I make it fit everybody?
Exactly. How do I consider that, people that are watching this are probably not Nigerians that, can relate to these things. But then I think right now, I feel like I've just gotten to the place where I see myself as a content. It's either you're on the journey or you're not on the journey. I will post what I want to post. Either you like it or you don't like it. Either that will make you follow me or that will prompt you to unfollow. It's all good. People that will stay will stay, people that will go will go. But when the shift kind of happened for me, when I would say I feel like I see myself as a content creator. I'll say I actively started doing this in 2022.
Okay.
Before then, I just used Instagram like every other person. Just, go to an event, post picture, have a nice weekend, post picture, and that's about it. But in 2022, I thought, I can actually be a creator and create more. My biggest challenge at the time was listening to my own voice. It was a struggle. When I'm re-editing the videos,
and then you're hearing it,
and I'm hearing my voice,
you're cringing.
This is what I sound like. This is what people are going to listen to. But I think after doing it for like about 3 years now, I feel like I've gotten to that place where I watch my own video. I'm like, it actually makes sense. That voice, you're not bad. You're doing well, So I've gotten to that place where I feel like I'm now comfortable. But it didn't happen naturally. It took a lot of just doing it over and over again before I got to that particular point. Yeah.
I think that's quite important. It's something very similar happened to me. So in 2021, I made this video, about being an introvert, and the video went everywhere. Like, I think collectively it's close to like 40 million views.
Is that the one that led you to your wife, or the?
No.
That one?
So that one was.
Because I think I saw one of the videos.
Yeah. So that one was about existential crisis.
Yeah. Okay.
But then the introvert one, it just took off. People related with it. They were saying all sort of things and all.
Okay.
And then now I have from 31K. Now I have an audience of 110.
You be Ajegbile.
I'm like,
show me the way.
What is going on? What is going on? So the first thing that came to my mind was, how do I milk this? Which is like the typical thing for us as creators.
True.
But then I was able to quickly hold myself back and say, look, this isn't about milking. This is a part of your personality. Yeah. So you need to find a way to let people see the actual you through these things. And then coincidentally, there was this thing happening, National Introverts Week in the US. Oh. And I got a mail that, I think it was because the video went viral, and I got a mail from NBC News that we'd love to have you in a 15-minute section talking about the stereotypes of being an introvert and all of that. And when I posted that interview eventually, there was so much validation from people who felt exactly what I was feeling.
so
and
good.
that was when I knew that, okay, I think I have a community here,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to just be introverts.
True.
So how can we amplify the skills we have? And with that amplifying skills and everything, I feel like that's what being a professional really helps you to do, because
True.
you've gathered so much experience from your
Different,
other,
yeah.
and now it won't make it hard for you to venture into something entirely different. Like you're doing content really well now, but you're still a great software developer. It doesn't take anything away from you. Now you're just adding to that life that you have.
Yeah.
But before software development, like what was it for you? Because I mean, I try to not do this introduction of anybody I'm talking to, because I feel like let's peel the layers, right? But what did you start with for you?
Before software development, it was software development. I feel like there was nothing before. I mean, not like there is. I can't think of anything before that really, because I studied computer science in school. So like from uni days, I've been like writing code and all of that. Then came out of school, went into NYSC, then joined Cregital in 2015 when the company was started. And that's about it. That's what I've been doing since like 2011, 2012 or thereabout. So I can't remember my life before software engineering. And, maybe with AI coming along, I don't know if I will remember my life after software engineering or if there's going to be an end to it. But I can't, to be honest, I can't remember. It's just been software engineering from as far back I can think of.
I mean, I think you're one of the lucky ones. Me, oh my goodness.
You traveled, you explored.
I really did. Like from architecture, it changed to
Design.
logo design, like logo branding, and then I found UX, and then from UX I was like, this thing is boring in a way. Like,
but UX is cool. UX is not boring.
It is. No. At the time, UX was just like, it's now I'm calling it UX. Before it was just website design.
Oh, true.
And
before it got fancy and
And in my head, I was like, what is the best way to figure out all of these things that's going on right now? And then I think I need to tell stories, but not just stories regarding what you want or what people would see. Stories about my process, my journey. And that's how everything just started. So I've explored a lot of things, but where would you say that you found the courage to really go deep, not with software engineering or with content creation now, like the things you naturally would love to do? Was it after you moved or like,
I would say it's when I moved to the UK actually. Like I felt like, thinking back now, it felt like while I was in Nigeria, I was so focused about the work, just the 9 to 5, and probably not have so much life outside of work. And in a way, well, I won't blame it on the environment per se, but thinking back, I can't remember what we do for fun. Maybe we go to the cinema, we go eat out, and that's about it. Hang out with friends, and that's about it. But since I moved here, I would say it actually allowed me to explore other parts of me, which is, for example, creating content. Like I'll be done with work in the evening, and I can set up camera and say I want to record and do something. Or I can set out and say I want to go play tennis. So I think I like the fact that some things are basics and they are taken care of. I think it kind of frees my mind to think in a different way.
It takes away a lot of mental load.
Exactly. And I can now think of, okay, I can actually do content, on the side when I'm besides work. I can play tennis outside of work. I can do all of this outside of work. But back in Nigeria, probably we didn't have the luxury. Let me put it that way to think like that, because we're always thinking about where to get fuel.
Like those very basic necessities. That becomes work, and then you don't even get time to do the actual work. And I think it's one of the things I'm really trying to help others with, because even before I moved, I was already like figuring out everything about content. Like we were just gisting earlier about NYSC, and then moving to Lagos and spending
Almost all the money.
almost all the money.
Yeah.
But then I was able to make all of that even while I was just freelancing and doing my thing. And there's this importance of figuring out how to get quite global early.
Yeah.
Not early, but from wherever it is that you are.
True,
Yeah.
true. I actually agree. I agree with that a lot. Maybe that's one of the... again, when we're thinking about some of these things, we make decisions in the moment that we are not thinking of the impact they are going to have later on in our lives.
That's true.
It could just be as simple, like you said, just being global minded and looking how what is other people doing? What are people in my level doing that I am supposed to be doing as well, regardless of the environment and the limiting factors around me. And I think it kind of helped in a way to be where I am today. And, moving abroad on its own.
I feel it probably just amplified.
Content,
Yeah.
exactly. Because, it's actually an amplifying factor.
So I remember, so after, while Cregital was going on,
Yeah.
Disha happened.
Yes.
And initially, when I first heard about the whole idea of Disha, I was like, this is actually brilliant. How come no one has really thought about it? Well, for this part of the world. And it quickly became something that I knew every creator was using then.
Yes.
And at first, I was thinking to myself, wait, so if we're here right now, I mean, this is just a very simple, it was a web builder to me at the time. I was like, okay, this is perfect.
Yep.
And I'm sure like the role you had to play in everything coming together was something that, did you anticipate that it was going to become? Because a lot of the times, very similar to content creation as well, right? A lot of the times we set out with an idea, but then along the way, it's like what you said, the way you think, did you think of it as it's going to become something that, it's going to become massive, it's going to get acquired, and everything that sort of happened along the journey?
No. No. It's not some... I mean, of course, there's the dreaming big, there's the whole planning. We plan to... At some point, we actually applied to YC. We were planning to get into YC and get funding and all of that. There was that whole part, positioning. When you're starting a business or starting a product, you don't want it to fail. You put all the thought and everything into the business and the product.
Yeah.
But in terms of where it ended up being, and how offshoot from there, it's not a place we plan to be, I would say. And but it was good. It was good. It's not... Getting acquired was something that just happened, and it's not something that we planned from day one that, we're going to get acquired by Flutterwave and this was going to be the plan. No, that wasn't the plan. The plan was just to serve a need.
Yeah.
We saw that we had, then we had big clients and we had requests from people that can probably not afford the services, and we just thought, what if we build a tool to help them?
Help them do that.
And that is what led to that. And we saw a lot of people started using it, and then, things happened, eventually got acquired, and, other things happened afterwards. It's also kind of linked to me being in the UK, because at the time, it's all of those evidences and all that, sent to, Tech Nation to, move into the UK and those kind of things. So the short answer is no. We didn't plan to get acquired for it to be for it to end up the way it ended up. But in the way, I feel like the product, we were building the product, and I would say personally, the product also shaped me. I led the technical side of things, ensuring the things worked the way it did. But when I said shaped me, working on it and the outcome we had from it, it was good outcome at the end of the day. So it was a good experience, and I would say, it's actually a shaping, again, looking back, talking about it now is when it makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
When we were working on it back then, it was just a regular day. We were just building a product. What can we do to make this better, usable for other people? We were not thinking we are going to be here today. But looking back, it kind of makes sense, and it ended well, which is good.
Yeah, because I'm also in a product building phase with Photopool.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think big. But right now, my mind is just on can this just be as good as it can be right now?
And serve a need.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, because if that need is not well put together, I mean, who says the big plans you have will eventually work out? If, okay, you've not really done your due diligence with the product to make sure that, okay, it serves the need and it's foolproof,
Yeah.
right? But I've seen a lot of people just, the goal is we want to get into YC. The goal is we want to, be acquired and all of that. And eventually they end up just shutting down, which that's the reality of startup life.
True.
Anyway. But would you say that you've escaped startup life now?
Would I say I've escaped it? I said I would. Yes, I think so. Right now, the way I see myself, I think I'm in my creative space. Like this is the creative era where I'm playing with camera, trying to do YouTube and do all of these things, grow an audience. I'm not thinking. I mean, I'm trying to build. I tried to build some things on the side, but didn't work out. But yeah, I think I'm in my creative era. Let me put it that way. I'm not thinking, who knows, am I going to the startup world again soon? But for now, I'm just seeing myself as a creative person. But on what you said on the product you're currently building, from what I know so far, I think you're serving a really great need, like with the product. And I'll just say, don't sweat it. Let things work out the way it's going to be. I feel like the most important thing when building or doing anything at all is being flexible enough for change that, who knows, the idea you have it might just be a feature you have tomorrow that will maybe become the main product itself.
Yeah.
Like things will evolve the way it's going to evolve. I feel like our own job is just to wake up every day and do our best. But the way things are going to pan out, who knows? It might not be photo. You might, in the next 3 months, you might be building something else entirely. But the most important thing is you're still waking up and you're building something and you're just doing your best in that moment. And the rest will just kind of figure itself out. It's good to aspire to apply for YC, raise fund and all of those things. But in terms of how everything will play out, we don't know. And I feel like a lot as humans, we worry so much about how everything is going to pan out. Like, this is how the next 2 years must be like, which I don't think anyone can really predict because, things move and happen so fast that you can't really tell. That's just the way I'm saying it. So just continue building what you're building. I think it's serving a need already and see how it evolves from there. In the moment, if the best thing is to just do YC, just do YC. But, if the best thing is to add AI and do all of those things as well.
We actually did that, which was really cool.
Yeah, so just go with the flow, let's put it that way, and let's see how it ends up, how everything will go. That's the way. I mean, that's my own approach to life anyways. Because I would say the places I'm in, I don't think it's as a result of intentional planning.
Yeah.
Not like I'm a very, how do I put it? Not like I'm careless about life. I don't consider myself careless, but I don't consider myself like I've planned my entire life that this is what I'm supposed to be doing at this point. I just happen to be where I am just by taking a day at a time and just doing the best with what I can do in that moment. And I think that's the best thing we can do, really. The best is not controlled.
To be honest, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Before we dive back into the conversation, if this chat with Rufus resonates with you, whether you're a founder, CEO, high-impact professional, I've got something you love. I've created a free guide called Storytelling for Influence and Growth that breaks down exactly how to do these 3 things. First, how to turn your lived experience into competitive advantage, just like Rufus did with his journey from engineer to storyteller. Then, how to apply the 6 proven framework for pitches, emails, and team communications. And lastly, how to avoid the number 1 mistake most technical leaders make with storytelling. So if a founder wants to fundraise faster, an executive shaping company culture, or an expert who wants to build thought leadership, this is definitely for you. And if you want access right now, follow this link, which is also in the description. Drop your email and I'll send you the Notion template to implement immediately. You can take your time to do this. And while you're at it, I just want to say that your support means a lot to me and I would appreciate you subscribing to this channel if you haven't done that already. And with that being said, let's get back to the conversation. So this is one question I've always wanted to ask.
Yep.
And it sort of relates to how you knew that, okay, it's time for me to move from Nigeria to the UK. Because moving out of your home country is always this talk that people carry with so much diligence, so much pressure.
Yeah.
People then fall into a lot of things that they don't plan for. And it's one thing that my wife and I didn't really take as, it wasn't like it's a big thing, right? We're just like, yeah, we're moving. Oh, great. Where are we going to? Edinburgh. Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
But I've seen other people who they've planned it for years.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of way they work, everything. And still, when you now get there, you now meet things that you didn't plan for. It now seems as though everything you've done is just a waste.
Yeah.
And I'm talking for family life, for your professional life, for even your creative, adventurous life.
Yeah.
You know, what were those things that made you know that, okay, I think it's time to go? And how did this sort of pan out?
How it panned out. Okay. Naturally left to me, I'll probably still be in Nigeria. And why I'm saying that is because I feel like one of the perks of being married is that you're living with somebody that always pushes you to, to not just do stuff, even when you feel like you're not ready for it. But we were having this conversation, myself and my wife, and we just thought, everybody is doing this thing. Maybe we should give it a shot and see how it goes. And, that's how we kind of applied for Technation and eventually moved to the UK. But in that moment, I wouldn't say that it was as a result of like years of planning. Maybe, again, it's also because maybe the space I'm in or the career or what I was doing in Nigeria at the time, like you said, I know other people who actually planned this for years. What we probably did in 6 months, because we decided to apply for Technation. Maybe I think it was in December 2020.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I think it was December 2020. What was it? 2021. Was it 2021? I can't remember.
Because you moved 2022.
We moved 2022. So December 2021. We were just thinking, you know what? It would be good that we actually try for a new environment. The lockdown happened. The world was, it was different. Disha got acquired. There are some stories there as well. But yeah, it got acquired. But then we just thought maybe it's actually time for us to explore somewhere else. Just go somewhere else and start afresh. In fact, that December, we went to Ibadan. We drove down to look for a house because we were like, okay, let's leave Lagos. Work is fully remote. Like, why are we living in Lagos? There's no point. My wife and I, we drove to Ibadan, looked for a house, we found one, went back to Lagos. We paid the rent actually. Went back to Lagos, ready to go pack our stuff and move to Ibadan. Told my co-founder I'm moving to Ibadan. And I think they now refunded the money or something that the landlord gave somebody else the apartment.
It's like God is saying, you're not going
to Ibadan, But I think in the middle of that, just thought, let's do Technation. That's another option. Then that December decided to apply and then went for it. And went for it, got the endorsement I think a month later or so. No, decided in December, applied in January, got it in February. Then we're like, okay, let's move. There's nothing we are waiting for.
Yeah.
Because we felt like we needed that new environment. Let's just go and start afresh in code somewhere else. And and I think one thing that kind of helped, like I said, the reason why it kind of went smoothly for us thinking about it now is because of the previous experiences we've gathered over the years.
Right.
So I would say it's made it very easy for us to settle into a new country, find a job and those kind of things, find a community as well. Because, like you said, there are other people that probably struggled with these things. But that was not our story in a way. Got the endorsement February, and I think June we moved to the UK. And even when I moved, I was still working remotely. Yeah. I was still working remotely with Flutterwave, and before finally, joining another company and all. So I think, the experiences we've been gathering over the years unknowingly
just helped to
kind of
push
helped
this
in
new move
in that moment to help our goal of that new environment that we wanted.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up here. But yeah, I know I've heard of stories of other people that actually try to, do things like that and plan years and years ahead. They're not able to get it. Which in a way, I feel like it's a privilege. That's the way I see it as well. The fact that we're able to migrate on the routes we used, I feel like it's a privilege that not everybody have or we ever have.
Yeah.
Which is somewhat another reason why I'm thinking we need to kind of, in a way, make Nigeria work.
Yeah.
Because everybody can leave. Even if everybody wants to leave, everybody cannot leave.
Yeah.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
And everybody's not going to have a very smooth experience.
Smooth transition.
Yeah.
I feel like the transition is just the scary part.
Yeah.
Because once you find community, you find your root. Yeah, I mean, it gets better. But would you advise anybody to, and I'm being specific with this, would you advise anybody to make a move because of maybe a career or profession?
Career or profession? Yeah, I would say yes, but it depends on the career, just to be safe. If, for example, I have friends that their doctors moved here and they are doing fine. I know people in tech, like myself and other people moved here, they are doing fine. I know other people in like consultancy and, and they are doing fine moving here as well. So I would say it depends on the kind of career. My answer is yes. To anybody that wants to leave Nigeria now, they should leave if they have the chance to. But they should leave in the best way possible. Like, not just blindly jump into an unknown.
Everybody's moving now, let's move.
Let's just move, It needs to be like a calculated one. Either calculated in terms of intentional calculation or unintentional. So when I mean unintentional is, for example, the experience I've been through, for example, in life, kind of prepared me to fit into this world already. So it wasn't like an intentional thing. So somebody might be looking at me and say, oh, Rufus did it in 6 months. Let me compare myself with that person I'm moving.
No way.
They might be in for a rude shock.
There's been like 4 or 5 years in the making of that.
Exactly. Yeah. There are like so many experiences gathered from running, the businesses, in Nigeria and all of that made it so easy. Meanwhile, other people will have to be intentional and plan and calculate and do all of those things, you know. So yes, anybody that wants to move should definitely move if it is the best thing for them. And if they are professionals as well, I would say yes. But it depends on the space they are in. I don't just want to say everybody, provided they get a job abroad, they should just do it. Because, there are jobs, it depends. It depends on the kind of space you work in and the industry you work in as well. So yeah, but generally, anybody that feel like there's a better world out there that is worth exploring, a better opportunity, and if you get the means to, why not go for it?
It was love that brought me here.
God, when?
Like, if it was left to me, I'll still be in Nigeria. Because, in my head then, it felt comfortable. This small guy making like $1 million in like 2-3 months, that felt chill. So, but I think it'll be important to know what kind of career you're trying to build out.
Yes.
To actually make that move possible. Because I know people who left like really interesting, entrepreneurial life in Nigeria, and then you moved and now you're fixed to a job.
Yes.
Which is going to really frustrate you.
Yeah.
And for you, would you pick like startup life over like the kind of life you have now? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yes.
Okay.
Would I pick that over this? I don't know. That's my honest answer. I don't know, because I feel like, the other time you asked me in terms of startup, am I done with startup? And I said I'm in my creative era.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way I think about things. Did start up for a while, went the way it did, everything happened the way it did. And I feel like, I'm in the era of 9 to 5 plus being creative and all of that. And I'm just trying to do my best in that space right now. I might wake up tomorrow and say I'm building a product and it's a startup world all over again. But, so I'm saying I don't have a preference.
And I think this is the point of this creative journey you're on right now.
Yeah.
Because it helps you see that it doesn't have to be one way.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be one way.
Yeah.
Like you can do 1,000,001 ways to figure this thing out, but you still fall back to the same exact place, which is it's about going with the flow.
Yeah. There is something I read in maybe 2021 that kind of helped me. It's an article by Seth Godin. And it's about how think of your life like a project.
Okay.
That way, it is very easy to commit to things and it's also very easy to move on. Like right now, I'm doing the creative projects. Rufus as a creative person, 9 to 5 plus creative, right? And it's going on well. Maybe at some point, I may have to switch things around and all of that. This phase at some point will be over.
Yeah.
I'll have to move into like another project phase. So that way, it's easy for me to like transition. But I'm still the same person. Like, it's just that I've lived so many lives and have different expressions and things like that. So I think that kind of helped me. So I'm just thinking of it like a project. When we were talking earlier, you were asking me about gospel lyrics. Is that still hop? I said,
gospel lyrics, yes.
Yeah, I said, yes, it's still hop. But, it's still hop, but it's not the way it used to be. There was an era where that was like the main focus. Like I wake up to like schedule stuff, manage social media and do all of those things and, do all of that. And over the years, attention shifted to something else and I've tried to go back to it and do the same thing again. I just couldn't, So thinking of it in terms of like eras and projects, it's probably going to be very easy. So am I done with startup life? I don't know, but I'm just going with it and, whatever I move into next is just doing it to the best of my ability.
Yeah,
That's
just
my
pouring
mindset.
all yourself into it.
Yeah.
But I'd actually love to like hear how gospel lyrics like evolved. Like,
okay.
So what made you start it? Because before you normally see, like you're looking for a dominant song, the lyrics.
Yeah.
You just search and then, you see like a blog about it or something like that. But then you really don't see a place that has more detail into the song and gives you like something that, that, okay, I'm coming, like it's not just any random search anymore. That if I go to this place, I'm going to find all of these things.
Yeah. How it started was in school. I was in school. Again, I think talking about it now, it's helping me think about it in retrospective, let me put it that way. In terms of trying to make sense of it back then. I was in school, I was in choir, in the fellowship, and then we used to sing like different songs. And I noticed that we didn't at the time, we didn't have a place for like Nigerian songs. If I was looking for Lara George song then, the lyrics of Lara George, some artists used to be intentional. They'll post it on their Facebook page back then.
Yeah.
So it was scattered everywhere. So Sammy Oposu's lyrics is probably somewhere. Kenny Kore was probably somewhere else. And I just thought, what if there's a website that have all of these things in a place? And the Domware that you cited they already catered to already by the bigger platforms out there.
Yeah.
But we have local artists in quotes now. I'm not like, we had local artists at the time. Say, for example, a Sinach song back then.
Yeah, or Nathaniel Bassey's
Or Nathaniel Bassey. Where do you get the lyrics for those things? So I just thought I can aggregate all of that from all of these various sources and put it in a website that people can go to and search for it and get it. Or maybe search from Google and just take them to the place. And that's how it started. So it's basically started from going through all their Facebook pages and all of the various places I've seen it and collecting it and publishing it in a place. Some of them I've also listened to the song because, by virtue of being in choir, there are songs that we have to score, then write out the lyrics ourselves to print and do all of those things to use for rehearsal. So I can take that as a material and put it on the website as well. That's how it kind of started.
Yeah.
And continued as well. Then I thought, there will be need to actually put attention on the website as well, then there's a Facebook page, there's an Instagram account to kind of draw people's attention to it as
traffic.
well. That was pretty much it. Did that? I think that started in the website started in 2012. I was still in school, 2012, 2013 or thereabouts. And yeah, there was a time between 2012 and 2012 to like 2020. 2012 to like 2017, I was actively pushing things and doing various things and, on the platform, which was going on well. Had contributors as well, because I see it as a form of...
It's like an open source
project. And I still see it as a form of ministry, in a way to just fill in a gap in that space that, you can download song online, you can listen, but there's no place for you to see the lyrics. And that's what I was hoping that the website, the gap I was hoping the website would fill. And that was, that was what we were doing. Then, yeah, I think that's about it. But since like 2018, let me say 2020, since, the pandemic and, well, not just the pandemic, I'll say over time, the cost of the access to internet has changed in a way.
New
People now have access to
companies.
internet.
Yeah.
There's now streaming is now popularized. I'm not sure platforms where people go download songs is still popular in Nigeria right now.
You rarely have that.
So that's kind of changed how people access stuff. People now see lyrics in their Spotify app, in their music players and things like that. But on a monthly basis, the website still get like 20K visits and things like that. People still go there to
search for things.
And at some point, I think 2018 or so, we opened it to not just Nigerian lyrics as well. Made it, something African. If you're searching for a South African gospel song, a Ghanaian gospel song. But yeah, that's been the journey. Over time, we've tried to do so many things.
Like I wouldn't. Would you say it is reinventing, or more like trying to just keep it alive?
In terms of keeping it alive, I feel like that's pretty just fine. Like it's a domain name and a website. It's probably just going to be up till forever, we keep renewing it. But in terms of reinventing it, because I've actually thought. I considered it being like bigger than what it is right now. But like I said, it's probably the era and the season thing where I had a Gospel Lyrics era. And, I've even tried, getting other people on board, paid people like, extra hands working on it like on a monthly basis. But that didn't go well as well. But I'll say, it's probably like an era kind of thing, but we've tried to reinvent it a couple of times, but it just didn't work as intended, But yeah, the website is still up and running anyway.
So, would you advise anybody to turn that kind of passion now?
Yeah.
By the way, do you still sing?
Good question. I still sing in my house, in the shower. I was planning to, by the way, that's a good reminder. I need to apply for, in church, they called for Christmas choir, like the larger congregation. If I want to join the choir to sing during Easter, I need to submit the app. I have on my phone open to, But yeah, I still sing, but not like in choir anymore. But I'm hoping to get back to it. But yeah, back to your question. You were going to say.
So I wanted to ask, so there's is it not okay? Do you think it's something that everybody should sort of pursue? Picking up that passion you have, running with it, and then eventually scaling it to become, should I say, an establishment where you get to have people who are working for you and things like that?
I'll say yes. Like I believe everybody should follow. Now this may sound cliche. Everybody should follow their dreams. When people say the dream, probably people are thinking of big stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I think what has helped me so far that I've learned is they are just simple ideas that if you do it long enough might be something big. I just thought having the lyrics of Nigerian gospel song in a place will make sense. And I had the skill to set up a website and do all of that, being an engineer. And I thought I would just go for it. And, over the years with millions of visits, the website is there, has done its thing. and it's still there. And I think thinking about my career, one thing that I can see there is just following that passion and just following something and committing to it and say I want to do it well. And that's why I said following your dreams may sound cliche, but yes, I would really, really recommend to anybody. There's something that they are passionate about or something that is, how do I say it? Something they find interesting.
Yeah.
It is worth pursuing, regardless of where it leads to. Regardless of the out. Again, like I said earlier, we don't even, because our problem
You don't know the extent to which this
exactly.
thing will do.
But the thing is, as we are doing those things, they're also changing us in a way that we don't know of. Like it's transforming, it's doing something in us that we don't know of. I would say it's probably all those things that accumulated to me being where I am today.
Yeah.
So yes, chase it. You don't know where it's going to end up. We can think we can plan and say this is where it should go to, or this is where it should get us to. But we never can tell. But yeah, we should just, find a purpose or find. When I say purpose, it's probably sounding so big
know.
And deep. It's just meant to
Purpose.
it's just
Your purpose can be a collection of different things that fits one core of who you are.
I agree.
Like me now, everything I'm doing is connecting to one direct point, which is you have to be a well-rounded person.
Exactly.
In your business, in your family, with friends, in your faith, you have to be a well-rounded person.
I agree.
It doesn't have to start and end with just one thing.
Yeah.
And most times there's always this fight for, I want to figure out what my purpose is.
Yeah.
And in figuring out what that purpose is, you spend so much time trying to find a grand big idea.
True.
Nothing happens.
Yes.
Like I spent, and for just to make it a lot more like realistic to you, my initial podcast that I started in 2019, I've been thinking of the idea since I think February 2018.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, it's going to be nice. And I've been watching a few people start video podcasts. I was like, I want to do video podcast.
Okay.
So I started saving money. Then the Lagos thing happened. But then I started saving money and something happened towards the end of 2018.
Yeah.
There was some family emergency and I had to, I had to put money in that.
Yeah.
So money has gone with my Lagos experience. So now I'm back to nothing.
Yeah.
And if I just picked up the so-called phone and the mic I had at the time
And just
started something, it's going to build up.
True.
So when I eventually started in 2019, I knew that I've actually wasted a year, but I don't care. Right now, I'm just going to push it whichever way I can.
Yeah.
And it was just little by little. I remember my first episode, someone sent me like a long list of things I should improve on.
Oh.
It was a friend. He works in the radio station, so he knew.
That's good
feedback. I was
feedback.
like, thank you so much.
That's good.
Immediately, things started changing. But to me at the time, I was like, it's a big idea. Like my purpose right now is to make sure, like, help people. Like I used to say to myself, that help people help themselves, which sounded really nice, but it's quite big. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So I just said, I'm going to pick it from my current profession right now, being a designer. So how can I help designers help themselves, earn
better,
and be better?
True.
So let me start talking to other persons that are other creatives within the same space who others probably look up to and let them hear their story. How did they do it? How did it come about? And all of that just became something nice.
Yeah.
But if it was that grand idea I was looking for, I won't start.
I agree.
And it's the same thing with everybody right now, And it's now worse with this AI age. Don't let us enter AI. But would you pick an AI-free world over a world where AI is like ruling things?
I'll pick an AI-regulated world.
Okay. Like an hybrid, a proper hybrid.
Yes, not free ruling thing, and just it regulate. We've been seeing a lot of AI and stuff, and I think the ethical side of things is actually very important. Currently, there's been this thread online regarding these hat style people are copying.
Gilby,
the studio style. And people are, asking that if that is your style, people are copying, are you going to be comfortable with it?
That's true.
You know,
I wonder how the studio feels though.
yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking about it. So how do they feel? Like maybe they will have a mixed feeling.
It'll be like
to be flattered.
if a love and hate.
Exactly. Or to feel like,
how do we know what is ours anymore?
Yes, exactly.
Because anybody can just come up and create something like that. Because very soon it's going to now become video based.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of really
And then
good
I can sit
video.
down in my studio and just create just me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is a company.
Yes.
I think they've produced one of the best, like some of the best animes on,
Yes.
animated artworks you see out there.
Yeah. I saw one clip that they said they took about 15 months to animate a 4-second scene. 15 months to animate a 4-second scene. Well, the AI for video may not be there yet, but it's a matter of time and computing resources and things like that. We'll eventually get there. But yeah, in terms of what I'll pick an AI regulated world because I feel like it's meant to serve us as humans, not like the other way around. And when I'm saying the other way around, I'm not thinking of a world where we are all reporting to AI and things like that. But I'm just thinking of a world where...
But it's scary that it might become that soon.
Well, maybe. Who knows how much of our politics and government has AI and all of this in decision making already.
We're already getting into agendas.
But what I'm saying... So what am I trying to say? I can't remember.
Like the regulation and how it leads,
Yeah, so the regulation is very, very important and it's just meant to serve us. The way I see AI is meant to help me to be more creative, not do things that, it's meant to make me create faster.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm saying it. If it takes 1 hour before, can I do it in 15 minutes now?
Yeah.
That's a good word, not a good world of taking over jobs and all of those things. Is meant to enhance us as humans. That's the way I see it, and help us to do things faster. That's the world. Because right now I use AI in my content creation, for example, when I'm scripting stuff, just to refine things and just I even tell ChatGPT sometimes to critique my script just to see
if to bring a different approach.
Exactly, a different approach, and what might be the reaction of people online when I say this.
Because it's got a huge pool of data that you can easily use to give you, good feedback. Sometimes it can even go as far as letting you know that my idea is solid. It just needs a refining.
Yes. Yeah.
But then some people are very quick to not even want to bring out ideas anymore. Total dependence.
Yeah, I don't want that. I think that's bad. Excuse me. In work as a software engineer, I'm using AI, for example, that's the other thing now. I've been seeing a lot of people scared online of how AI is replacing engineers, but I'm not worried just because I feel like writing the code is what the AI would do. It can do a little bit of thinking or the simulation of the thinking.
Yeah.
But I feel being an engineer is way beyond that. I've always believed that it's about problem solving. It's not about writing the code itself. Like writing the code is a list of what, of my day to day.
True.
Let me put it that way. If me as an engineer, or if you as an engineer, if you write more code than you think and you solve problem, then I'm sorry.
You yourself, your AI.
Exactly. So the way I use it is I already map out of, what I want to do, what the outcome is supposed to be, and, just, prompting it to do stuff. Like I said, the code that will probably take 1 hour to write.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it in 30 minutes or 25 minutes, which is lesser, it's a win-win.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not like I'm outsourcing my thinking to the AI to do for me. But I can prompt it to identify blind spots, which happens, which is okay.
Yeah.
But as an engineer, there's the problem solving side, which is what everyone is paid to do. Even if you're not a software engineer, I feel like you're paid to be a problem solver.
I feel like there's a trend I've noticed with my own work, and I was like, I have to stop this. It is that I'm very quick to wait till I'm getting to that burning point of delivering something before I swoop into action.
Okay.
For example, let's hope I don't do that this time. But if I eventually set a date to publish this episode, that date, because I have the skills and I know, okay, I'll get, some sort of assistance from maybe AI or someone who is going to assist. I probably will just wait till maybe like 4 days.
Before the deadline.
Because I'm like, it's easier to be working in that pressure than to finish it. I'm not sitting down and then I'll probably not notice that something is wrong with this scene. Because I'm like, I know tomorrow it has to go live. I'm like, I'm not editing anything anymore. So this is just go. So are you the kind of person who would prefer like organized chaos or just complete chaos? Or you like you like being organized completely?
To be honest, I feel like we are probably more alike than you think of. Because, like you said, for example, when I'm editing a video, there are times when I'm editing a video and I just think, you know what? That is enough. That is fine. Any other thing I make after this point, nobody's going to notice.
Yeah.
I'm just posting it that way. I don't care. Not like I don't care. I've put in some time, but let me just post it out there and it's good enough.
Yeah.
I'll make the next one better. So I feel like I'm that kind of person that waits till the last minute as well. I told my wife something one day. That, babe, in case you haven't noticed me, I don't rush into things, but I get things done.
Quick, like quite fast.
Like I do things when I need to do them.
Yeah.
But if you say, let's do this, I may not jump up and do it, but I will do it. Like I do stuff, but I'm not I call myself proactive, but I'm not the one that would, say for example, the example you gave, say you have 1 week to edit something. I may be pushing, I will get it done.
It's good to go out that week.
It will go out when it's supposed, but you don't see me editing on the first day or start. I mean, I'll just be chilling. That's what I mean. Like,
but do you think it's a creative attribute or it's just based
bad
on the
habit?
person? No, not necessarily bad habit. I know some professions that will not afford you this freedom to do that.
True.
Like now, if you're working in finances and you need to keep the books literally every day. Yeah. Do you not see you wait till there is the quarterly review before
you jump into action?
So I feel like a lot of creatives I think we're somewhat spoiled. Because like we know that there is a luxury of time and then
and it's not,
no matter how terrible it is.
It's not time sensitive.
Yeah.
The repercussion is not that big. Let me put it that way. Like I used to tell my wife, there's a reason why I'm not a doctor. Like that's where I think
it's not a matter of life and death.
Yes, it's not a matter of life and death. It will get done and on time most of the time. But there's no rush. Don't rush me.
No rush.
I'll get it done. But yeah, to your question, is it a creative thing? I think it's probably the pecs, or probably that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Or being a creative, being able to decide when you do stuff, and
I mean, I think we should be entering some quick. How should I put it? Maybe like quick fire. I've been seeing it on other podcasts, and I'm like, maybe I should try it, or maybe not. But then
let's try it.
Okay, let's try this. I'm thinking about it, so I'm trying to brood. Samsung or Pixel?
Pixel.
That was quite easy.
No. I mean, come on with something else.
That was quite easy. All right, tea or coffee?
Tea. But left to me, or chocolate.
Or chocolate. Okay. Going out or staying indoors?
Staying indoors, actually.
But you've been traveling a lot, you know?
I know. I travel a lot, but I enjoy the comfort of my home. It's good to travel. It's good to see the world, but at the same time, most of the trips, I can't wait to just get back and, let me just get back to the house, be in my space, and get back to my routine. Like, because travel can be disruptive sometimes.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Nah, this one is too easy. I won't ask it. I was about to say MacBook or Windows.
No.
None?
No.
Okay,
It's definitely
okay.
MacBook. Like,
People are going to be in the comments and they would probably fight at this, but let's see. I mean, MacBook. I feel like there's been this ongoing feud of people with, Windows, Mac, and all, and I'm like, just use what gets the job done for you. Like,
yeah, I
there's
agree
really,
as well. Plus, I started with Windows, and we probably all started with Windows.
Yeah.
And we got to that point where we were able to afford the MacBook, and I'll use MacBook. Again, it's about the job, not the tool.
Yeah.
It's not about what you use or whatever. It's about getting the stuff
just
done.
get the job done.
Yeah.
Okay. Instagram or YouTube?
Instagram or YouTube?
Yeah, so basically, long form or short form content.
Ooh. That's a tricky one, actually. Can I stay in between?
So in between, like, how do you do in between? Because it's either
I'll say
portrait or landscape. So
YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, why YouTube though?
You
Have
have
you
to-
started YouTube first?
I've started YouTube.
Okay.
How many posts do I have up now? Like, how many videos? I think I've got like 3 or 4 thereabout. I'm editing one right now.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm hoping that, this weekend, if I have time, maybe I can finish it and it goes out this month. But YouTube, because I feel like that place is underrated in terms of the resources that is available there. That is on the consumer side of things. On the creative side as well, I feel like that is really it. I feel like it gives you more room to create or to express yourself. Instagram, you only have, on YouTube, it's probably the same thing. You have some few seconds to actually grab people's attention, which I get it.
Yeah.
It's a different game. But I feel like on YouTube, you have more flexibility to express yourself, to be creative, while on Instagram or short form, you are limited to, you want to keep it short because, attention there is very short. But if somebody is watching your YouTube, they are in for, no matter, depending on what the topic's about or how juicy, people watch 2 hours YouTube. Personally, I watch YouTube at work, just put it in front of me.
Yeah, it just keeps playing.
On my iPad and it's just playing. I'm listening to a podcast. I watch it on TV. So I feel like YouTube is the GOAT creators platform. Let me put it that way.
Okay. We would accept that. Because, I would choose the same thing. Because, and this is not even particularly because of the kind of work I do.
Yeah.
I feel like no matter who it is you are, and you have this flair for telling stories,
Yeah.
the longer you can tell the stories without breaking focus and, connection with people, the better it is you get with your craft.
Oh.
Short form has made it...
Say that again.
Yeah, like the longer
Yeah.
you can tell stories without breaking the storyline, people's focus, or keeping them engaged in what you're telling,
Yes.
the better you become as a creator. Because short form does one thing. It robs you of the genuineness of your creativity. Because you're very quick to just publish something that you don't immerse yourself in it. You don't even think twice. You just think, I want to make one short video today. What would it be? You scroll. And then, I think I'll pick one sound and then...
Yeah.
But then, with a story, for example, I started this year off with, it was a video around resolutions and all of that, but it wasn't the typical New Year resolutions thing. I was thinking around New Year, but it's still the same you. But then it's a new beginning, specifically because of the way you want to do things differently. Not necessarily that you've changed or anything.
Yeah.
And the way I wanted to tell the story was not like the typical way, right? And I was just thinking, what will grab people's attention? What if I'm sitting there in the snow? And I did that. And that was the subject of...
The video.
That was what people talked about the most in the video, in the comments.
But that's not like him.
No, that was part of what I was going for.
Oh, okay.
Do you get? But it was just a moment I thought. But in other things, like short video now, you really don't have a peak or anything.
True.
Like you don't have that. It's too short.
Yeah.
And I think maybe because I've spent too much time going down the rabbit hole of UX, I feel like I've gotten to a place where I'm like, I prefer to give people peak-end experiences than, like just bits and
and bits
dubs
and
of
pieces here and there.
dopamine.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
yeah. Anyway, short form. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
We can use it to go viral, but
Yes.
the real stories.
Yes, and that's why my last year I was supposed to start YouTube, for example, but I didn't do it enough. But this year I've been trying to release more stuff there. Like I said, I feel like it's like you said, which is I agree. I feel like long form forces you to be a better creator in a way.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Because it helps you use up a lot of your brain space.
Exactly, because you have to keep people engaged. You have to think about the script. You have to think about so many things. But yeah, I agree. YouTube over Instagram. Well, they all have its ways.
I think we can put it this way: the platform is not the focus. It's more the medium of sharing.
Yes.
Because I've started creating long form portrait videos, and for a weird reason, they are doing better than every other thing.
Oh.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's a little bit educational, but
Maybe.
I'm talking for 2 minutes, 40 seconds, and people are watching, and it's getting like 140k views. And in my head, I'm like, are you people all right?
Yeah, that's good.
Like, shouldn't you be scrolling?
I'll move on to the next
and
one.
I'm like, okay. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is actually good. I feel like I've been able to recondition my audience in a way that I know that I want them to learn more about the journey of going from creator to creative entrepreneur and all of that. A parent to understanding more about, the life, not necessarily the activities. And I can't just be talking about it in and out. I have to spend time to make you understand what the concept is.
True.
And that's why I was it doesn't have to be about portrait or landscape, YouTube or Instagram. It's more of
Long form.
Like, can you pour more into it than just quick bite-sized things, which is all good.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me?
I'm waiting for the next one you're going to ask me, like the versus. And I was like, okay, let me wait.
Okay.
I don't have any question for you thinking about it now, but...
Because that's weird. Like, how do you... Because I've made it in a way that it's not a host versus... I mean, I feel like I'm asking questions, but that's conversation in general.
Yeah.
But, it's not the typical host versus guest kind of a thing. So
I totally get.
Yeah, if there's anything...
If there is any question, the only thing I can think of is what is a common mistake that you think most creatives make? Or creators right now. What do you think most people get wrong, or they don't do well enough that they should probably be doing more?
So I think I sort of touched on it with the short form, long form.
Oh, okay.
And I think it would be spending more time understanding not the platform, not the mediums, but the story.
True.
If you spend time with the story, you're going to see a lot of things that would sort of get you to really, really understand yourself, your storytelling style, and your audience.
True.
Like, I found it very early that my audience, they don't like educational stuff. They just want to, they want aspirational things, Yeah, like, make me feel like I can do it.
Oh, okay.
But then, as a creator, I knew that I had the power to sort of not change that, but then condition them to understand more into how I feel they should be seeing it. Because that's the power of influence.
True.
Right? And I feel like a lot of creatives need to understand more of the power of influence, not necessarily creating content. Because you're influencing people to take action or to do, maybe you're influencing someone to smile, you're influencing someone to buy a product, you're influencing someone to think differently about a particular idea or whatnot. And that's what you should sort of focus on mastering. And you can't do that without stories. So what kind of story do you want to tell? For example, I want to tell a story around one person who has a lot of things revolving around his life, but is able to keep them in control.
That makes sense.
But how do I now present it? Okay, I'm using Instagram to sort of share day in my life. I'm using YouTube to show you like a proper breakdown of how my day literally is. But then when I write to you in newsletters, I want you to not just see what I'm saying. I want you to you're thinking about it yourself. And generally, creators need to spend more time understanding the story, because the story will give you room to see the person that really needs more of the things you're doing. At some point, I started talking to designers.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, designers right now don't care about stories. What they care most about is, the process. And I'm like, a typical person shouldn't be thinking about the process. They should care about how it should be done.
Yeah.
How it's done is different from the process.
True.
So you're not doing it yet. So why do you care about the process? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for that person who doesn't know anything about the process.
That's good.
But then they have an idea of what it takes to start it. By themselves, they can learn the process, which is why I said, I realized that my audience didn't really like educational content.
Okay.
And then after maybe like 4 years of telling you that you can do it, now I'm not showing you the process to doing it. It now makes it easier for them to follow that journey.
Oh, okay.
So story eventually leads to journey, and that journey will sort of give you maybe purpose. I don't know.
Yeah.
But spend more time understanding what the story is. And 80% of the time, the story is you.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah. Because if you realize when you started making videos and content, at first it might probably be very difficult.
Yes.
But then the moment you get convenient in the flow of who you are, it becomes sweet.
I agree. That actually makes
becomes
sense. Sweet. Yeah. Because some of the things I now talk about are things that, from my experience, things that I feel I'm basically sharing what I've lived, hoping to help the person watching, hoping that they will see something that will help them in their own lives or whatever. That actually makes sense.
All right.
That's good.
By the way, should I should I cast our sets today?
No, don't cast our sets.
All right, no problem.
Or you can cast our sets.
No. But I mean, I think for me, I really enjoy conversations that don't just go around a specific topic. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But that's the fun of it, because it's like life. Like that's the way life is.
Yeah.
And what better way to make the podcast title like what it is, figuring life out. So But for you, like I think,
and that's a good name.
What would have been the turning? Like, what's the turning point for you? You knew that I think I figured it out, or I have maybe a guideline to understanding how this is done. I mean, life in general.
Turning point. I can't think of anything. I can't think of any particular point in time per se. But I feel like I'm figuring it out on the go, to be honest. I'm still discovering a lot about myself. Let me put it that way. I mean, I feel like I'm still finding out a lot of things I actually enjoy, things I don't enjoy. Like, I started playing tennis 2 years ago, for example.
Wow.
Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. I didn't know I'm going to enjoy it. It was just someone from church, a friend from church that said, oh, let's go play tennis one of these days. I said, okay, why not? I went into the store, buy a racket of maybe £17 or thereabouts. The cheapest one I could find, because there were more expensive.
You don't know if this is
if this is going to be.
So why make that kind of investment?
Exactly. So I just bought one and said, let's do it. Then I turned up. Showed up for it at the court, and we met at the court. Went the first time, the second time, and now it's something I look forward to like twice a week. So I'll say I'm still finding things out, things about myself, exploring, and like you said about the whole creating side of things, that's the thing, it's a journey, and that's why I'm trying to be careful, for example, not to limit my Instagram or what I create to a particular niche. I want to be that you're following Rufus, and there's just this so many. I'm a software engineer. I'm a Christian. I talk about my faith when I want to. I just make random silly posts sometimes when I want to. I talk about travel. I talk about my wife when I want to, when I have the creative license to. I know about that. So I'm just figuring things out, and I'm just trying to let it be that, this is a place where you can follow my journey, and I'm just trying to document it one at a time. Like, I used to think in my head, or I think I've mentioned this to a friend before, that if I ever come across like I have my life figured out, or I have it all together, that's a mistake. Don't get it. Don't get it wrong. I mean, you can look at me and be like, this guy, there's so much going on for, and I have it figured out. I don't, like, we are figuring it out together, and that's about it. So I don't think there was a point per se, but I'm just living each day as it comes, and with the wisdom of God, and seeing how where it will lead to. So yeah, that's it for me, really.
Wow, perfect. I guess we're done.
Yes, are we done?